Under the Cerulean Moon, Chapter 1. Past the wreckage, one could find peace, and past the pasture, one could find bloodshed. The cold was excruciating as women scurried to arrive at their destination, grabbing nothing but their newspapers and scraps of furniture for their kindle. Children playing dictator at a garbage chute that was once a magnificent theater. Dogs fighting other dogs for a morsel of rotten food becoming a normal entertainment as men drank tinted beer found in obscure places, cheering them on. A man walked back to Dogspite, scanning it over to see if it piqued his interest. It didn't. A drunk man stepped in the way, swaying and singing in the national anthem, hitting the man in the process. "Hey, where you going, dumb fuck?" the drunk man said. The man said nothing. He bowed his head and continued walking. He could hear the drunk man tripping, falling, yelling, and laughing. The man kept walking, seeing families huddling together in the open street trying to warm up, and others attempting to steal scraps of food and clothing. He looked over to see the piece of moldy bread on the ground, buried in the snow, and picked it up. His stomach started growling, but he placed it in his pocket. He went into the tattered shack outside the town that had a cardboard sign with illegible white handwriting saying, "Leadwin Bar." He entered and saw barely 5 people seated at the tables, all with insufficient pieces of clothing for this particular weather, shivering and clicking their teeth attempting to eat the rat soup, the tails sticking out of the broth. He reached into the counter and the bartender handed him the napkin, sitting and waiting for his order. The man looked at him in cold countenance. "Look, buddy, this is all we got. It's either eat here or starve out there. Your choice is becoming as far as I know. This is the only store that provides decent food," the bartender informed. The man kept looking at it, pointed down what he wanted. The bartender nodded and went to do his job. The man sat down and sensed the man staring at his uniform and clean-looking attire. "What makes him so special? He probably stole them with some rich punk outside and kept his money," said another. The man said nothing and waited patiently for his food. "Here you go, rat broth with maggot on the side. Enjoy to toss it. I don't care. Just throw it outside. I like my establishment to be clean as possible," said the bartender retorted with sarcasm. The man placed his hands together and slightly bowed, reaching into his pocket and handed the bartender 100 kilos. "What the fuck?" the bartender gasped and began to laugh. "Wow, stranger, be careful when you show your cards." The man kept laughing, but held himself to silence himself. The other men looked at each other in shock and greed. The man walked over to leave, and so did the 3 men. As the man left, embracing the cold air, the 3 men interceded and stepped forward in front of him. The man on front was a skinny man with a scar across his face, stemming from his left side of his neck, who had ill-equipped clothing. His face was uncuffed, with his beard coming to look curly. The other 2 were skinny as well, to the point of death, but both resembled twin brothers. "Hey, so what's with the larger number of kilos you gave the bartender over there? And from the looks of you, it looks like you have something to spare. So, would you kindly hand it over?" The man shook his head no. "Oh, come on. And think about how families are currently starving out there in the streets in broken homes. So a great service to them." The 3 looked up and snickered with each other, with the man noticing the scarred man swinging his elbows back to shut them up. The man stared and shook his head again. The scarred man changing his tone, getting impatient. "Look here, you son of a bitch. Give us the money and we're gonna have to force you to." The brothers put out rusty broken knives. Rusty, but still useful in harming a person. The man sighed and the scarred man raised his tone of voice again. "Seriously? That wasn't so hard, now was it?" The man reached into the back of his cloak. The scarred man continued. "We're gonna make a fucking fortune, boys. The slice is gonna be what we deserve." The scarred man stopped talking and looked at the brothers in front of him with open eyes. "What's wrong, man? Let's go," said one of the brothers. The scarred man swayed back and forth, managed to take a step, but collapsed on the ground, revealing his split skull. The scarred man's body was split in 2, ending in his chest on a curve. His brain man oozed, marking the freshly made snow with his blood. Behind him stood the silent man, holding his blade in his hand, and the scars man dripped down below. The 2 brothers looked in horror as the man stared at them with empty eyes. They didn't move, but only shook, letting go of their lives and dropping into the ground, backing away from the man holding a sword covered in blood running across his blade. The handle was wrapped in loose bandages, unraveling in some places, with the blade having an etching of diamonds ranging from the hilt to the tip. "Hold on, mister. We meant no harm," We just want food, so please spare us, pleaded one of the man. Yeah, we were just confused with hunger. That's it, no harm, continued the other. The man raised his blade with the two brothers beginning to cry, but the man only swayed his sword to release the blood, then sheathed the sword in a scabbard behind his back. He hid his sword, placing the cloak around himself. The man then reached into the pocket, pulling up a piece of moldy bread, placing it in front of the brothers before proceeding to walk away. The crowd that formed moved out of the way to let the man pass. The crowd looked at him with the same blank stare the man gave them. They had seen enough to realize what the man did them was doing a favor. Before leaving the near end of town, the man looked back only to see the crowd gathering around the scarred man, taking a piece of him for himself. Some hid the pieces in their ragged clothing, while others swallowed the pieces, not even realizing what they had just eaten. End of chapter 1.